the rehearsal period is very short for our work, and things happen backstage. And so if you have a thing that you would like to share that happened in Suor Angelica, or that happened at any of your other productions, I think every single person who's sharing right now has been in multiple Puget Sound Concert Opera um, productions, and I really love that. It's like a community and it's a small family-like community, and you guys make that happen for me, and everybody else who comes feels welcome to stay. Um, yeah. Um,
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what some of you might say because oftentimes I'm not backstage. And so there might be little dramas going on that I'm just like totally unaware of. So spill the beans.
so we didn't have anything really terrible happen for Suor Angelica, but it was on New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve has a certain pattern. People say, yes, I'm going to do it 2 months before. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks before, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to my family and I can't do it. Sorry. And then we have people who just leap in and pick up the slack. Well, in particular, Emily, who's here today. I said, can you do Dolcina instead of the one I gave you, and then I'll bump somebody else into that one. And I was just kind of bumping people around, trying to get the right colors and personalities, and still do it with the people that I could really count on, and I can really count on you. So I don't know. You seem so cool and calm. I don't know if it freaked you out or anything, but no, Emily was fine. Emily was fine. Well, so not too much. Anybody have anything else to say about Backstage at Suor Angelica?
I don't, this wasn't a backstage thing. I don't, but was it Suor Angelica? I don't know. I admit over the years things sort of start to blur together a little bit. But was it where there was the police involved shooting out on the main street that blocked off like every road to the hall that we were singing in? That was, I mean, so just praying that everybody got there safely.
And when I arrived, the caution tape had been put so that it blocked off the front doors to the church.
Mm-hmm.
And we did manage to get them to shift the caution tape so that one of the doors to the church could be open. And then, Regina, am I wrong? But didn't we end up having one of our better audiences that night?
Yeah. Well, so usually we get about 30 to 40 people in each of our shows, and we had 85 people in the audience that night, plus a few poor people who could not get in. They blocked off one of the entrances to the parking lot, and you had to know to go around the back, or some people were just parking on the street. So 85 is a good showing for us, and it was just a wonderful production. And to end it in a good mood for everyone, we did a little upbeat song. We did the drinking song, the Brindisi from Traviata at the end, and everybody had a champagne toast. So in the end, it just all went, and it does, because everyone who's involved is so dedicated, and you just roll with it. I can't say how grateful I am for that. So Suor Angelica is not the only show that we've ever had any unusual circumstances. So anybody else have one favorite moment from a past opera?
We were discussing it before, so yeah.
I can't not mention. We used to do a performance in the San Juan Islands at Friday Harbor, and it was always kind of interesting to in the weeks leading up to the performance, Regina would be emailing us and letting us know, now the ferry times are this, so you need to get on this ferry in order to get there in time for our performance and so forth. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I would be obsessing about this that day, and I'd be like, oh, I've got to leave now. I've got to get there in time. I've got to get there in time. And we by and large we would do it and we would pull together. But one performance, and I think we agreed that it was Norma, and I got there and I got on the boat and I started doing my kind of quick inventory to see what other performers were there, and I saw some people, but I didn't see the conductor. And we were bringing an ensemble, an orchestral ensemble with us too. And so I was like, oh, okay, I wonder where the conductor is. And then I can't remember the exact details, but I think that we got word that, the boat left, the ferry boat left, and there was no conductor on the boat. And this was the last boat that the person could take. And so somehow, I can't remember whether he called you, Regina, but he decided that he would fly because there was an airport right next to the ferry dock there in Anacortes. So he flew over. But meanwhile, I was like, I can deal with this. I'll be able to conduct from the piano. And, but he got there and the show must go on, and it did go on. But that was exciting.
Yes, it was. Friday Harbors. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say something similar happened with Lucrezia Borgia. There was the first performance in Bremerton, which, we had the Bremerton performance, and then there was another, I think just one other one in Bellevue. But it was not the conductor, but there was a delay on the ferry. I don't know if some of you are remembering this, like the ferry itself was delayed, and then there were people delayed getting to the ferry. And so I remember getting off the ferry, and I was very unfamiliar with Bremerton at the time. Now I live in Bremerton, so I'm much more familiar with it. But at the time I was not familiar with it at all. And it was very easy to walk from the ferry to the theater, but it was this like kind of madcap inventory of like, who else is here? Who else is here? Are we late? Are other people? And the cell service is not so reliable on the Bremerton ferry, like gaps. So people are texting and trying to figure out like who's texting Regina to figure out if she's there, and like where's the rest of the orchestra. And but I remember it was one of those things like there's not a lot you can do when and
I don't know if you remember, but that performance in Bremerton, there were 4 members of the audience who had indulged a little bit much in the grape or distilled spirits or something prior to the performance, and they were. My back is to the audience because I'm conducting or playing or whatever. I was hearing from my colleagues on the stage that they were conducting, and they were getting engaged, but they were.
They were very, very excited about the opera. I was very distracted being in the they were in the front row. I loved it. They were very excited about it and very into the opera. But yes, they had definitely had something before. It was very interesting. That was a very interesting performance out there.
Oh, well, that was the first time that we were at that hall, and it'll probably be the only time, to be honest. We had to bring everything in, and the sound was terrible. But again, everyone soldiered on. Oh, and let me add to that performance that one of the principals, it turns out, is allergic to popcorn.
Oh no.
And I'm like, get outside, stay outside, don't breathe that air. And she says, it's okay. I just take my medicine and then I'll just go in and sing, and then I'll go back out my Orsini. But she sang great regardless. I'm the one that
I never knew that. Yeah, I had no.
I'm the one that sang terrible because I was like, oh, there's the chairs and the stands and the people and the everything. And then, it was a very exciting a show. But you know, it's funny because almost every weird and crazy show that I can think of was somehow related to ferry travel. Because for Così fan tutte, I had loaded everything, all the snacks and everything into the car. And then right as I was getting ready to close it, the 5-gallon thing of water fell out of the car. And I'm like, okay, I don't need it. And so I get everything shoved in there and I drive up to get the ferry in Anacortes. And then I'm on the ferry and then we get there and I'm going to change my clothes and my shoes are missing. I had no shoes for that performance. Do you remember?
I do. I think I took my shoes off as well. So
Well, then we just looked like sisters bonding. But it was because they fell out when the water fell out. And I was just so, you know, I didn't even see them. So yeah, that was
Well, and that's what I love about Puget Sound Concert Opera. And, you know, I suspect that any group of performers who work with each other through numbers of productions like that have the same experience where it just feels like a family. And, you know, we pull through for each other. And I defy our audiences at those performances to have realized that anything was, you know, not quite as it should have been, because, you know, we get it done. We're professionals about this. So
yeah. I mean,
I was going to say too that 2019 in Bremerton, that was about 10 days after I fell on my face while I was running with my dog.
oh yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That show was just so cursed.
It was pretty much sight reading for that one.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was, you know.
I never knew that. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you just handled it so well. I mean, everybody who was involved in that production, I thought, just did a great job. And we had some newer people involved with the production. And, you know, I'm always like, what's going to happen with this new person that I'm bringing into the family? But it really worked well. And I liked what we did with some characters. And I'm Diane and Eliza, you guys were the spies for that one, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Which was fun because that was sort of this elite men's chorus. And I thought spies could be women. Let's go, girl power. So that was wonderful to see you guys really grab that and do a beautiful job with those quartets. Beautiful.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's one of the things I love is like we don't spend a lot of time rehearsing, you know, it's because it's concert style and you know, we've had the experience with the music, but like we pull it off. Like it's really great. With the little time we spend together, we really are a family. Like we you know, we help each other out, we support each other. You know that you can, oh, somebody can't do it, so there's somebody else who can take the place of a different role, and we just kind of all roll with it. It's really fun. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to go that way, and when it does, we make it work. So it's, you know, it's always been really fun and great, you know. And one of the things I love is I just get to learn a lot of different operas and learn a lot of different characters and a lot of different styles that I wouldn't normally, I think, get a chance to do because of the staging and the costume, you know, like the time that it takes. And we just get a chance to just kind of do really, you know, really great productions with not as much time. So it's just, I've always appreciated that.
I think we can all say that. I mean,
yeah.
when did I ever have a chance to have done Bluebeard's Castle or something like that, you know? But
Being
I
able
do,
to step in too, like I was thinking, John, sorry to interrupt you. I was thinking you are familiar with the whole score because you're playing it and often conducting it. But when Diane, when you were mentioning that one sort of has to be ready to step in, it's very different from a more regimented situation where you know exactly what you'll be doing in each rehearsal. That's different and it has its own value. But then you end up with Lucrezia Borgia doing the spy role, which is not, it's ordinarily not something that, that's not a women's role. But then you're in a scene that you wouldn't get to be in otherwise. And music you wouldn't get to sing otherwise. And the spies were often on stage when Lucrezia was not on stage. I was covering Regina as Lucrezia, but and she has her own portions of the show. like in a lot of those Donizetti works where it's like you're on stage for 100 pages and then you're gone for 150 pages and then you're back, but then there's all this other stuff happening. So if you're one of the people in the chorus who, if there's a small role available and you're ready to step in, then you end up hearing all of this music that you would never have been hearing if you were at a bigger company, or if you were doing it differently, then you would be off stage or not even around while that music's happening. So it's really cool to get to know it more fully.
Yeah.